Tinfoil hat. Oh, what the fuck are you guys even talking about?
Global controls will have to be imposed, and a world governing body will be created to enforce them.
Welcome to Tinfoil Hat. We go deep, homeboy. Aaron, open your mind. Drink from the fountain of knowledge. There's lizard people everywhere. That's some interdimensional shit. Wake up, Aaron.
This is only the beginning.
Dude, you just blew my mind.
Are you ready to get your mind blown?
Good morning, Swarm, and welcome to Tinfoil Hat. You know I am. You know I'm here to do. I'm here to rock. Join me as always, Xavier Guerrero, and on the ones and twos, Jay Nice, Juicy John, Johnny Water. Guys, I got a great show for you. We have one of my favorite comics working today. The one, the only, Greg Fitzsimmons. I love him. I love watching him work. He's a wordsmith. He's a master of the stage, and he's been doing it for a while, and it shows. And we're excited to have him on. Real quick, go to SamTripoli.com. This weekend coming up, I am in Edmonton at one of my favorite comedy clubs on planet Earth. It is called The Comic Strip. I recorded one of my albums there, so it's good to be back to my old stomping grounds inside the giant Edmonton West Mall. Very excited to be there. Then I'm going to be Baker. Then we have I got to put this up still on the website, but we got a Comedy Chaos on the 13th, Bakersfield on the 23rd, and then Huntington Beach on the 24th. And then, of course, my stand-up special, Quiet. Bro, I am feeling ready to murder. So enjoy that, guys. And anything else?
No. Oh, yeah, my new show, Scum and Kick It, just came out. Go subscribe on YouTube, podcast. Go hit that like button, please.
Check it out.
And we'll be back. We'll be back with Broken Sam. We just took a week off. We were all away. So
yeah, and enjoy those live tinfoil hats, man. They're killing it on YouTube. And then my new show on Rumble, Doom Scrolling. The kids love it. So enjoy this episode with Greg Fitzsimmons. All right, super excited to have our guest on. I mean, he's one of my favorite comics working. He's a wordsmith, like I said. And dude, he just shot his special at the Mothership. I'm very excited to have him here. Please welcome to the show for the first time of hopefully many times, Greg Fitzsimmons. How are you, brother?
I like the hopes for the future. That's the key. I feel like, you and I have circled around each other with doing this podcast for years, and it's finally happened.
Yeah, man, I'm so excited to talk to you. I've always been a big fan of yours, and I remember when you started come back at the Comedy Store and watching you work, it's like it's a real honor, and I love you're a wordsmith. So, it's a
thanks,
conspiracy.
man. I appreciate that.
No, dude, it's great to watch. You're one of the old school guys that I think are very important in comedy right now, and it's good to see you shooting your special out there. For those who may not be familiar with you, Greg, let's say someone lived under a rock. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and where our listeners can find you?
Well, I'm a guy who I've split my time between writing for TV shows over the years, won 4 Emmys, and doing stand-up comedy for 33 years. Host 3 podcasts now, Fitzdog Radio, where I interview people. I'll be interviewing you tomorrow if you have anything left under the hood.
Nope. I'm excited. What time's that at?
11 o'clock.
Perfect. Very excited.
And then I do Sunday Papers, which comes out on Sundays, which is me and Mike Gibbons, who's a big producer guy who's been my best friend since college. And we go through the newspaper every week, business, sports, entertainment, and we cover stories from each part of the news. And then there's Childish I do with Allison Rosen, where we talk about raising kids.
Oh, I love that, man. Your kids are in school now. I mean, going to college, right?
My son graduated in the spring, and now he's in Central America.
Whoa.
For 5 months. Yeah, riding around in what he calls chicken buses, because everybody on the bus has a chicken under their arm. And so Guatemala and Mexico so far, and then And then I'm gonna fly down and see him in Mazatlan for the this big eclipse coming in April.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go down for that.
I love that, dude. I love
Yeah.
that. That's great, man. My kids are 3, so I'm at the other end of the spectrum. And
Hey,
yeah,
what
I'm
do you have,
loving it.
twins?
Yeah, I have twin girls, and
Oh
I
my
love it.
God.
Yeah, it's blessings. Yeah, they're running their old man. They're running their. I have no say in anything, but it's a blessing. It's a blessing, Greg. So, this is a conspiracy podcast. Are you into conspiracies? Or do you have any conspiracy? I know we talked a little bit about what we want to talk about, but are you a conspiracy theorist? Have you ever been a conspiracy theorist?
I used to enjoy it more until the world got so political, and I feel like every conspiracy theory now has an agenda. And I used to like it when it was just more of I remember my friend Ross Broccoli, who was a farmer from Lincoln, Nebraska. He got me high. I hadn't smoked pot. I got sober, and I was sober for like 15 years. And then I got in his pickup truck and we drove around Lincoln, Nebraska smoking pot. And then we went back to his apartment and we started watching videos of the moon landing. And I couldn't believe it. By the end of it, I literally flew home to LA going like, we didn't fucking land on the moon. The whole thing was staged. This is crazy. And there's still a part of me to this day that isn't 100% sold. I'm mostly sold, but I like that there's some doubt. I like that. I think one of the things I said I wanted to talk to you about today is the Chaos, the book about the Manson murders that Tom O'Neill wrote.
Yeah.
And that in the end, he doesn't tie it all up. He doesn't say emphatically, this is what happened. He pokes holes in the Bugliosi story. He pokes holes in the CIA and basically lets you see that what you thought was true is not true, but he's not going to tell you what the answer is.
Yeah, it's super interesting, right? It's like this presentation of like what is going on in the world, and then this slow possible realization that maybe it isn't exactly what we've been told over a long time. And yeah, I mean, it's kind of crazy. I'm in a play. I'm very deep down the rabbit hole, obviously. And if you go, Sam, what do you think's going on? And I go, everything's an intelligence trick at some point to manipulate and to manifest a certain type of view. And Charles Manson is a great example of that, like a really great example of like when you study that guy's story, it's like, first of all, basically raised in the system, abandoned, raised in the system, horrible things happen to him through the way. But then as he kind of starts to grow into a man, like he just gets into so much chaos, right? And then there seems to be not a lot of repercussions for it, where it's like, how does this guy get arrested and immediately released constantly all the time? And you're like, is there an invisible hand at work? And why is that invisible hand at work? And one thing I always
the guy who was his parole officer, something Smith, he was taken off of dozens of cases. The average parole officer's got 30, 50 clients. Is that what you call them, clients? That's the new age way of talking about anybody. He's a client. And so he became his only parolee. He had one fucking parolee.
That's
Meanwhile,
so crazy.
The guy by the time he was 25, he had spent more time behind bars than free. He was a juvenile from the age of like 13. And so he basically stole cars, had sex with underage women, was caught, and every time they took him to jail, somebody in the higher up said, no, release him. And he kept getting out for like 8 years.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Then you study that whole kind of world of Haight-Ashbury and what was going on there, and you start realizing that, like, I as we hear all the time with the internet, everything's about data. It's like data is the new oil, and the data is king, and selling the data is like a very lucrative business. Like I remember there was I think we had a sponsor here on this show, which was like, go through this app to buy everything, and they would throw you money, and you're like, why would they do that? And you realize, oh, they're selling all your data of what
Right.
you're buying and all that stuff. And
Yeah.
so, but if you study kind of Haight-Ashbury, like it was like just a free range, almost psych ward. And they had these free clinics everywhere where like all these drug addicts and these hippies could eventually go when they started to piss fire, they need a quick shot. They could go there for free and get a shot. But they were kind of like answering questions and all this stuff. And a big part of what was going on there was the crystal meth game and the psychedelic game.
Right.
And they were kind of trying to see like what that did to people. So then we fast forward to Silicon Valley.
Well, wait, just to go back to that, there was just, I mean, the LSD thing wasn't, it wasn't random. There was a guy named Jolly Rogers who was a CIA operative who was a doctor who specialized in reprogramming people using LSD. And he did it in response to troops coming home who had been brainwashed and trying to get them straight again. But there was a pretty well proven, there was COUNTELPRO, and then this smaller group was called COINTELPRO or something. It was MK Ultra, and then underneath that, there was COINTELPRO, which was running these specific, the Haight-Ashbury Free Clinic, where they were taking people in and they were experimenting with changing their minds using LSD.
Yeah. So now we get to like, and we'll go back to the whole, the murders and all that stuff. But as we fast forward to like Silicon Valley, what do we see? What do we see? What do we hear? We hear like everyone's on Adderall and they're all microdosing.
Right.
So it's like a smaller version of like, what did they learn in this data? What did they learn that people who are taking psychedelics, but also tweaking their balls up, are they easily manipulated? Can they push them in certain directions and stuff like that? Everything's data, dude. It's so interesting. And then you actually take a look at like the actual murders and the discussions of what happened during those murders. And were the FBI outside just chilling while they were going on, which is a super creepy thought.
I mean, it's entirely possible because they had, at the time that the murders took place, first of all, the murders took place, they didn't find them for like 3 months. And they're sitting in this ranch where there was an informant inside the ranch giving them information. There was, proven that there was plane reconnaissance missions going on over the ranch, and they didn't do anything about it.
Now, was the plant telling Charles Manson was going on, or was the plant telling the FBI what was going on?
Telling the FBI or the CIA. I'm not sure which agency it was, but they were surveilled, and I mean the question is like, why would the CIA? First of all, the CIA is not supposed to be operating on domestic
100%
citizens, and so just the fact that they were a part of this, and they came in, and you say, well, why didn't they just hire somebody? I mean, what was the motivation for killing Sharon Tate and the other people that were at the house that night? And it all goes back to how the whole MK Ultra was about disrupting the left, disrupting the anti-war movement, disrupting the civil rights movement. So they said, let's get a hippie in there. Let's plant a hippie in there, control his mind with LSD, and then I don't know that they knew specifically the crime that Manson and his followers would commit, but they knew something bad would happen, and that it was effectively the end of the 60s. A lot of people use that phrase about the Manson murders, that it took away
the end of the hippie movement.
Yeah, it took away the legitimacy of a lot of these anti-war.
Or like peace love. It took the peace love. How is it peace love when the guy just murdered people and off of LSD? It just, everything you said just goes out the window for that reason.
It's super interesting because they did want to kill the anti-war movement. And I've always said that, Vietnam was a very interesting time because you saw like all these mass protests on like the largest scale ever across all demographics. And I think that scared the elites. That scared that, like, are these people, is this population getting too smart? Are they too united? And like ever since then, we've seen the slow erosion of public schools and the slow erosion of the education system and the divide and conquer that's been going on. But, you know, you get into the whole thing with the FBI knowing all this stuff. You know, I don't know how deep you go into a lot of the stuff that's going on today. So this, you know, Johnny and I, the guy, Johnny's with the glass and the hat, we talk about all the time that, like, out of nowhere, Twitter has just become like snuff. There's like there's like a cat video, a twerking video. Now there's a snuff video.
I literally 5 minutes ago, the first thing that popped up on my phone when I opened Twitter was an image that had to be censored of a guy who decapitated his father.
Yes,
and then was on Facebook parading his head around. That, I mean,
no way.
It's all over. Yeah, dude, it's so violent. I mean, it's
whoa.
One of my
and I know why.
Like, check out this video. I'm like, I'm not watching the video of the guy that decapitated his father's head.
And I know why.
They're political rants.
Crime, you know, coming out of journalism, like I've said this a million times. Crime is the stickiest stuff. People love crime. People are addicted to crime, and that's Twitter. You know, is fighting for its life right now.
Why do you think people are addicted to crime and murder? Do you think it's because there's a part of them that wants to commit it themselves but can't or won't?
I think it's thrilling. I think there is excitement lacking for most people in their lives personally. You know, they don't have, you know, it used to be for most people, for most of human history, there was a struggle for food, for shelter. You know, you had to fight other people, and now we all have it made.
I think we're also addicted to like emotion, man. Like, you know, it's like, I mean, I always talk about this on stage. It's like you'll do a show and there'll be a white chick who gets offended by your joke, and she'll want to go talk to the manager about how, you know, people's feelings. And then she'll get in a car, drive home, and go listen to a murder podcast.
Yeah, right.
And then you talk to them. They're always like, I'm just trying to learn how not to get murdered, which is the most ridiculous. That's like saying I watched the UFC so I could learn karate. But it's an emotional thing. Women love the passion, the emotion of those situations. It's like when there's a fight right there, everyone just watches. You get so, because it's this a giant emotional outburst that we've seen.
Nobody breaks up a fight anymore. In the old days, people jumped in, and now it's like, yeah, the cameras pop out. Yeah, they start chanting, which is kind of fun because when I grew up, I used to get into fights a lot, and part of the reason why
you're a fighter, huh?
Yeah, I was, but I was a small guy, so I was fast. I punched fast, but I also hung out with big guys, and they always broke up the fight, and I was always so glad. Like my two roommates in college was the captain of the football team and the star running back of the team. This was a D1 football squad. And so I would start shit and they would break it up. But then I always wondered, like, what would it happen if nobody broke up a fight? You know? And there's this amazing video of Rip Torn and who was the writer in
I know what 70s. You're talking about. Yeah. Hold on.
He got into a fist fight on a movie set, and it was out in a field.
Norman Mailer. So Norman Mailer and Rip Torn get into this fist fight in a field, and no one fucking breaks it up because they get the film cameras rolling. And it was just a study in exhaustion. Because if you've been in a fight, you know that you basically have about 20 seconds until your arms are dead. And these guys just keep going at it. They kind of take breaks. They go at it again. Here we go. Yeah.
Oh, is he
fighting us?
Norman. No, baby. No, baby. You know, you trust me. 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 Come on.
I'll trust you if you trust me.
All right. All right.
Promise?
Promise.
All right. Okay, I go.
Okay.
Go.
Okay. Okay. I'm sorry, Dad. I'm sorry.
All right, stop being scared up.
No. Let me hit you.
No.
Hey! Will you cut this fucking thing out?
if you're watching at home, dude, we'll include the link in the description so you can watch this white guy fight going on. But it's a a lot of ground and pound before there was ground and pound.
Yeah.
Tell me when you've had enough, by the way. You done with
I've
this?
had enough.
Okay.
We've had enough.
Yeah.
All right.
It just keeps going. It's wonderful.
Guys, real quick, I want to tell you about our boy, James McMahon, and Copy My Crypto. The crypto world is starting to heat up, so you better check out James and Copy My Crypto. Let me tell you about Copy My Crypto. There's so many people making ridiculous money from crypto, but did you know it's easy for you to do the same? The Copy My Crypto membership site shows you the coins that YouTuber James McMahon personally holds and allows you to copy them. It's like having a big brother who knows what he's doing. You don't need to know a thing about crypto or how to invest as you simply do what he does. It's that simple, okay? So let me tell you about James. He runs Crypto with James YouTube channel, which despite heavy censorship has over 26,000 subscribers. Since March 2020, he told his viewers to buy 26 crypto coins. Had you put $100 into each, it went on to be worth $123,000. Okay. Of the 26 coins, his top pick, a coin called Phantom, went up 692 times from when he said. That one call alone retired a number of people, including guys in their 20s and 30s. Remember, this is public knowledge. You can go to YouTube and verify this yourself. So if you'd like to join the 2,800 members who copy James, then stop what you're doing right now and head to copymycrypto.com/TFH. That's copymycrypto.com/TFH. That's TFH, okay? You'll not only find proof of everything I've said, but my listeners get full access for just $1. It's that simple. So once again, that's copymycrypto.com/TFH. The recession is here, guys. You can suffer like everyone else or choose to thrive. James is the real deal. Go visit his site now.
But you're so right. You're so right. In high school, I remember you wanted to get it. If you knew you were going to lose, you wanted the fight in class. Because you knew it'd be 10 seconds, fight breaks up, and now you can figure out the fight. You didn't want that shit after school in the backyard when no one was going to stop it, and we're all just going to go for round 2, dude.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you're right.
That's why they're getting brutal, these fights, because nobody is stopping it.
Yeah.
But the reason we brought up the snuff is because Johnny brought up the case of the guy that was going off on the government. His dad worked for the federal government, and he cut his dad's head off. I don't know what part of this story is real, what part of it's not, but cuts his dad's head off, and it's then just doing a podcast with his dad's head sitting right there, wrapped in plastic. And the reason I bring that up is because like the feds have visited him a bunch of times before.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, and like we see this with these shooters. I mean, there's a famous a Fort Hood shooting where the family of the shooter, like, they're suing the government because the FBI just sat outside and they knew what was going down. They just sat out there and watched it. And it's just getting into like, so you're getting like, what is the psychological effects of these events? These what they call high impact events on our psyche as a nation, as a humanity.
Right. Well, I think the idea of being a loner, being anonymous, being not seen, being a virgin, and then at your fingertips, you can be on the 6 o'clock news. You can be a household name. But what's amazing about like the Manson murders is, people, I don't know how many people died altogether, 7 or 8 maybe, but remembered forever. Meanwhile, there's school shootings where 4 times that many people died. I don't know the guy's name, but somehow the Manson thing got traction. There was romance in it. There was a beautiful starlet who was pregnant. There was innocence. There was, again, like we talked about the hippies being behind it, and this sort of like, Susan Atkins was like a devil worshiper. She was in the, a satanic group. It all just caught your imagination, and it kind of stayed with us 70 years later.
Yeah, and he just passed away. It was so crazy when he passed away because he had this like smoke show girlfriend for like a minute.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh, that was this gorgeous chick wanted to marry him.
Yeah.
And then,
oh my God.
then he found out she just wanted his body when he passed away. Like she wanted to take ownership of it. You're like, okay, that makes sense. That totally makes sense. But it's crazy because, he had a real problem with snitching. So he never really discussed anything. He felt like that would be snitching and like everything that was involved with that because he technically didn't kill anybody. He wasn't there. He didn't do it. And then there's all this discussion on like who might have really done the murders. And in the book, they talk about, I think, was it Jolly or it was the drug
Jolly
dealer?
Rogers?
Yeah, that they were talking had possibly been implicated in that whole thing. But this is just the war, the psyop, the Laurel Canyon. Have you ever gotten into Laurel Canyon and in the studio and like how so many of those artists were like military brats and like that, Jim Morrison's dad was involved with the Gulf of Tonkin and
Sharon Tate's father was a big military guy.
Yeah. So it gets into all this, like they just forever been running data. They just know who's good at what. And, I'd love to get your opinion on Taylor Swift later, but it's like we start getting into like the mamas and the papas and like their dad was like questionably a serial killer. But
shit. Really?
Yeah. He was molesting there was mamas, papas, and then there was the actress that was on Too Close for Comfort, right?
Mackenzie Phillips.
Yeah, her dad.
Papa
John
right?
Phillips.
Yeah, Papa John Phillips.
Based on books I've read, have said that he was like a brutal, like sadistic.
No, he slept with her for like 7 years or something crazy.
But there was also belief that he was a serial killer, and that
really,
yes, and that he never got charged because he was an asset of the intelligence agencies.
Wow.
And like it's crazy. Like, what is reality? What is not reality?
And also the Beach Boys were very involved. Well, I think Dennis Wilson in particular was very tied in with with Charles Manson. They were very close, and I think actually Manson co-wrote one of the Beach Boys songs, and he was in their world. And I think that there was a house that they all lived in that was Dennis Wilson's house. It had like 30 bedrooms, and there was women that would sleep with you. Just Manson would say, "You sleep with him," and they did.
That's such a crazy time.
Meanwhile, I can't even get the one woman who lives in my house to have sex with me.
Does she know about your Emmys?
Yes, they're sitting right there. Are you kidding me?
Oh, those are beautiful.
Wow.
Are Emmys like children? You're not allowed to say which one's your favorite?
That's badass.
Yeah, they. What I'm really hoping for now is I got to get the EGOT. So now I got to become an actor, a singer, and a homosexual, so I can go on Broadway.
Which one would be the hardest for you to do out of those three?
I would say, well, a Tony Award you can, or a Grammy you can get for reading an audiobook. So that's a piece of cake.
Oh,
I think Michelle Obama got one of those. And then an Oscar, I think an Oscar would be the hardest. A Tony, you just gotta write a play. How hard is that?
It is crazy, though. It is crazy. What are your thoughts on the whole diversity and Oscars and all that stuff? I mean, you've been in Hollywood for a while. You've seen like this amazing rise and, then the rise of the internet and all that stuff. Like, what's your thoughts on like where art is right now?
Well, look, I mean, it's, things always shift and they shift back. And right now, I'm a 57-year-old straight white guy who is 1 year away from having lifetime health coverage through the Writers Guild. If I get one more job, you have to have 17 years of coverage. I've had 16 years. I need one fucking job. And then at the age of 60, I have health coverage for the rest of my life.
Oh,
but but I can't even get a fucking meeting. I mean, it is a young, diverse game right now. And, I had a good run. I rode toxic masculinity right to the middle, and I didn't really have a plan B. So now I'm kind of hitting the road and doing podcasts.
But you see, I mean, first of all, I really hope and pray you get that gig. That would be great for you and your family. So I hope that really happens.
Thank you.
But you've also like adapted to the game. You know, you seem to be leaning into podcasting. You seem to be leaning into touring and doing stand up. I mean, like, I'm 51 years old. I am so thankful that I was able to figure out the internet game because I'm functionally illiterate. I make no illusions of that.
Yeah.
I couldn't write a script to save my life. I'm porn acting bad. My natural acting is overacting.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. That's good.
So
Porn
I was
acting.
never going to make it.
Right.
On top of that, I can't do coverage. Coverage drives me crazy. The last time I did a gig was on the Weather Channel, and we were like running 3 hours behind. And I walk out, and the entire crew's just on their phones. I'm like, why am I doing this? Why? I've gotten really comfortable with podcasting, so I don't even want to do it. But do you think that all these changes are natural, and do you think it's made it a better product?
Well, I mean, if you take a giant step back, I mean, there was a time where, there were no people of color and there was no women working in high level jobs at all. And
you call that the good old days.
Those good old days, man. I used to walk into a room and be like, what do we got, guys? What are we doing today? I mean, I spent a lot of years I can name a handful of shows where it was all straight white men. So I'm not like one of those guys that's like, oh, this is fucked up. This is unfair. Like, it hasn't been that long that this shift has happened. And I'm seeing it start to wane already. But it was a reaction to something. I don't know that the solution is to take diverse people and put them at high level jobs when they haven't been in the pipeline, when they didn't start out as a PA and then as a writer's assistant and then because you're setting them up to fail sometimes. I don't know that, rushing it is a great idea, but at the same time, change has to happen. I mean, if you just numerically, it's very difficult for somebody who doesn't come from means to make it in this business, because you have to be a PA or an assistant for 5 years and you make less than what you can live on. So you need a parent that's going to float you while you follow your dream.
Yeah, I got you.
There's a lot of people that aren't in that situation. And so there needs to be, some recourse for that.
It's equality versus equity, right? Like, I mean, like, I don't know anybody that wouldn't be like, hey, we should have equal opportunity. I think it would be ridiculous to sit there and go, oh no, we shouldn't have equal opportunity. I think everyone would say that. I think the problem is equity, and this gets into like, can we legislate equal results?
Right.
And I think that's where we get into. Like, I think there's this thing in comedy, and it could be in writing too, I could be wrong, that everybody's equally talented. And that's why, and the only reason they get certain places because they're connected or whatever it is. And I can tell you that's completely wrong. I mean, like, I remember watching some of these young comics coming up going, oh, that guy's going to be the future. Like Taylor Thompson, great example. Like, she opened for me one time in San Diego, and I was like, oh, you're the future. I knew it right there. Like, there's just different talents and different energies and all that stuff. And I think, but it should be access to the opportunity to pitch your ideas, to get your stuff made. But it should be a meritocracy at some point, right?
Of course. Yeah. I mean, I think it's, how do we get there? We all want to get there. We want to get to a place where we can feel good about there being, more diversity in all workplaces. The way it's happening right now, I don't think it's the best way. But I'm open to other ideas. Like, how do you think the playing field can be leveled? Because we have to agree it's not level.
I would tell you, yeah, there's totally. I mean, I am a white guy. I'm just gonna tell you. I mean, I'm functionally illiterate, can't write any of that. But it's like I think the notion that like I as a white guy could come in and instantly get it over somebody else. I don't know. I don't know if that's necessarily true, but I do think it's like for me personally, I think it's like, and this cuts across all color barriers. Is just like it's like trust. It's like private school kids versus regular kids in a weird way. They've done research on a lot of the diversity hires, and they all have like kind of like this Ivy League background. So that to me is more. I've always come to the belief that it's an economic war than class war than it is a race war. Not saying that people born in certain races don't have like a lot of hurdles to go through, but that to me is like I think somebody walking in here. I don't know if the color of your skin gets you in Hollywood into an opportunity more than another one. I could be wrong. You've done more work in it. Am I wrong?
No, I'm just saying working backwards from the numbers. I mean, we can agree that there is a disparity between people of color and that there is a diversity issue.
Yes. Growing up, yes, 100%.
But doesn't it seem though now as though, because if you look at the numbers, I mean, white people are still a majority in this country, versus all the other race. I mean, there are more white people than any other race, is what I should say.
Right.
But they seem to want it to be now where every race is represented equally rather than in proportion to their representation of the population. Yeah, and that's
who's they? You said they.
Well,
I think he means the Jews.
Yeah, the Jews, of course. Yeah. But I mean,
suddenly
here's
you
another
guys
one.
all wearing black is starting to get really creepy.
Did you notice that? Did you guys see the story? Johns Hopkins, their DEI guy, that's their diversity guy. One of the categories of diversity that they were seeking, or I'm sorry, one of the categories that they consider privileged in hiring is middle-aged. If you're middle-aged, that you're considered a person of privilege in their hiring practices. So now, I mean, how is that anything but ageism? I don't understand that at all.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of ageism, and that definitely exists in Hollywood. I think that
it's crazy. It's just crazy.
Yeah, it is, and thank God we have Social Security and pensions, but now you're seeing most jobs are not providing pensions any longer. And so now you've got this world where there's ageism and there's also not a safety net for people as they get older. I had dinner with 5 friends the other night, and they're all straight white men in their 50s. And these are guys that are literally the funniest, most respected showrunners in Hollywood. They've run, I'm not going to name the shows, but like, they're all the shows that you would be like, I mean, from SNL to Letterman and none of these guys are working. And, it is unfair. And I don't know, how do you address it?
I get it.
I don't know.
I totally get what you're saying. Like there was that. I don't know if you can right the wrongs of the past by overreacting to that way. And again, that's why kind of I'm not into that in that. I mean, I don't have the skill set, but I just kind of want to control what I want to control. But when we see like the white wall, like when you watch a commercial and you're like, wow, are the best actors every time for this commercial a black guy and a white woman, racial couple? Were they the best every single time on the commercial? That's you start getting into like, what is that about? And like, again, if they are the best, they should get the commercial. I maybe there's this naivety that I came into when I moved to Hollywood in '98, that this was a meritocracy and that the best, and that the talent rises to the top. Maybe that's my whole thing. And I just feel like when you get rid of experience, it hurts the overall product. And is that why Hollywood isn't necessarily getting the numbers? I know there's a diverse way of digesting content now, but do you think that hurts the product?
Wait, so are you saying because there's more diversity, the quality's gone down?
No. What I'm saying is when you're going, all these straight white guys aren't working. Are they not working because they're straight white guys? And does that hurt the product because of their experience is no longer being used to kind of like direct the boat.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think without a doubt, I think there should be something that's more, you know, instead of not being hired, there can be more of a mentorship relationship where there is a pipeline of people that are being taught from the most experienced people, and at the same time trying to make room for new voices, but at the same time understanding that there's a reason why these guys have been working for 25 years is because they're talented and they have a work ethic and they're responsible and they have experience. I mean, I guess all jobs age out, and maybe I'm at the point now where I wish that wasn't the case, but I think there has to be more of a mentorship thing and less of just not being hired.
Yeah, I just feel like, I see this a lot in comedy in LA right now. I mean, like, again, this could be Sam go and get off my lawn, but I've seen, and I think this happens every 20 years. And I know that I was the recipient of the other side of this, where like the Comedy Store gutted kind of the lineup and gave all these young guys spots. But what I see when I watch this, is that it's almost become Lord of the Flies, man, where you have these young guys learning from young guys instead of learning from the older ones around them. I remember when Jimmy Schubert came back, the Comedy Store, he pulled me aside. He's like, "Listen, dude, you're really funny, but you got a shitty attitude. You got a really negative attitude."
Jimmy Schubert told you that?
Yeah, and I took it to heart. I go, you know what? He's probably right. I get my father gave me like old crime boss advice on how to deal with people.
Right.
And I come from very paranoid people. So I like, it was the worst way to deal with people in Hollywood. So I kind of, slowly over time, like learned that like, I got to let stuff go and don't take everything personal. But if Jimmy wasn't there to pull me aside and go, "Hey man, I see what you're doing. It's super funny, but you're going about it all the wrong way." I just seen there's kind of been this kind of gutting of like the older guard and bringing in new people. Maybe that's just the way it is, but is that servicing these younger people? Is it servicing the next generation?
Right. I think that there needs to be, I mean, I always liked, I've been to Ireland many times, and you walk into a bar in Ireland and there's a bunch of young people maybe playing music, and they're playing music with an old guy, and there's another old guy at the bar, and he's sitting next to a fucking kid, a 7-year-old. And like, there's a community and there's a respect. And I think most cultures have respect for people as they get older. And I think that Hollywood I think it's always been ageist. I just sort of assumed that I had enough momentum that things would keep moving forward. And they are. I'm writing on a project right now. I'm developing something, and I sold a show this past year. I'm still in the game, but as far as getting on staffs for shows, that's where it gets really tough. And I think it's tough to be at 16 out of 17 years and be knocking my head against the wall a little bit.
There's a reason podcasts are so funny right now, though. It's because of all these, all these great guys that can't find work elsewhere or taking their funny to podcasts and YouTube.
Yeah.
That was a whole, like, if you take a look at, like, I still believe that Death Squad, the original Joe Rogan crew that was like out of Brian Redband's, his like second bedroom that moved to the Ice House. Like, it was like a big time where people were like, "I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to try to be the best and do the entertainment I really want to do." And some great podcasts coming there. Your Mom's House, Joey Diaz, Ari Shaffir, Duncan Trussell, all these great podcasts. And it was kind of, I remember Dave Anthony saying this, that he was like, podcasts came because white guys couldn't get work. So they had to like figure out a way to reach their audience. And it's a blessing right now. It's like changed my life. But I just want, like, I'm not somebody who wants to be like, fuck Hollywood. That's not me. I grew up on Hollywood. I love Hollywood. I just get nervous when I see like the same mistakes being done over and over again, like Marvel Comics. Like, okay, here's a great example. You saw Blade, right? Have you seen the controversy with Blade?
No, I didn't see it.
So the Blade is the story of a daywalking black vampire, right? So they want to remake the movie. So they've been doing all these rewrites on it, and like the latest one where they almost scrapped the project was like 4 women were going to work together to solve like world problems and come together. And Blade, the black male lead, was going to become like a secondary character in this movie. And you start going, like, have we learned anything?
Yeah. Right. Yeah, there seems to be a sensitivity among the executives that if they're not super sensitive to all these issues, that somehow their business is going to end, or somehow there's going to be a letter writing campaign. And it can definitely be a bit much sometimes.
Let's get off that. Let's get into some politics. What are your thoughts about 2024?
Oh, Jesus. No.
What do you want?
Talk about that.
What do you want to talk about? I think it's going to be interesting. I'm excited about it. It's just going to be pure chaos.
Yeah, it's going to be chaos for sure. And I think that we still haven't seen that independent candidate who could swoop in. And I don't think it's Kennedy. I still hold out hope that somebody's going to come out of the second tier, and everybody's going to go, fuck these 2 old guys. I want somebody with new ideas. I don't know who that is. Do you have any thoughts on who that might be?
Johnny brought up a really interesting fact on the last episode. Johnny goes, Bill Clinton today is younger than both these guys running are today.
No shit. Wow.
Out of office for 25 years. The guy's still younger than both.
God damn. That's crazy.
Right?
He's 77. Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. I mean, why? Why? How did we end up with 2 such old guys? Because when you think about people that, can sometimes forge ahead, it's people that don't have a lot of skeletons in their closet. They don't have a voting record in the Senate for 30 years that you can run campaign ads against.
You're totally right.
You need somebody fresh and untarnished.
Yeah, it's like you can no longer be like a DC career politician and run for politics because, I mean, even though we just had Joe Biden get in there, but it just seems like you have too much record of what you're going to do and maybe what people don't like. So these people got to kind of come out from. Barack Obama was an Illinois senator, came out of nowhere. Are you do you ever study Barack Obama?
Do I study him? No,
his history.
Not that much. Is this where we talk about that he wasn't born here?
No. He's a Bush.
What?
Barack Obama is a Bush.
No, he's not.
Their first common ancestor or their first common relative. Can you guess? If you the Bushes and the Obamas' first common ancestor.
How far back?
Just a couple generations.
Really?
Guess who it is?
Who?
A Hinckley.
No.
Yes.
Like David Hinckley, the guy that tried to kill Reagan?
100%.
No kidding.
Do you know the Bushes and the the Bushes and the Hinckleys had dinner the night before the shooting?
Wait, say that again slowly.
The Bushes and the Hinckleys.
Which Bushes?
George Bush. Well, no, it wasn't George Bush. It was like one of the cousins, and the Hinckley had dinner. There's actually a picture of it. You could look it up of them leaving the restaurant together.
No kidding.
So this gets back into assassination. So right around there's a bunch of like does the Reagan assassination and the what's his face from the Beatles, John Lennon, do they happen around the same time, Johnny?
1980.
Around that, it's super interesting because
Lennon was December 1980. I know that. Reagan shooting was March 30, 1981. So it was the following year. Yeah, pretty close. Just like
so they were really close.
5 months,
and what's very interesting about those is that both of the assailants or the assassins pled insanity, but only Hinckley was allowed to actually use the defense that I was too crazy. I didn't know what I was doing. But then the shooter of John Lennon tried to do it. They're like, nah.
Well, I thought Chapman was going to do that, and then he, at the last minute, he himself went and was like, pled guilty, right? Because he
was gonna, but they weren't gonna allow him to use that defense.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I mean, it's supposed to be incredibly rare. You see it in TV all the time. It's kind of a trope in TV, but insanity defense is
But it's
uncommon.
super interesting that a Bush was allowed to use that defense and get out and just now he's out singing songs.
Yeah, he's got an album.
Is he free now? Oh, that's right. He got out a couple years ago,
coffee
didn't he?
beans now.
Yeah.
He's down coffee.
He's got a CD Baby
playing
account.
guitar.
Yeah, with SoundCloud.
I think he should open for Cosby. Cosby's touring again.
Is he touring?
Are you kidding?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
What?
I don't know.
I thought he was
actively
blind.
touring,
Didn't
but
he
I
go
know
blind?
I hear they're setting up a tour. Check it out on Google. I think they're building a tour right now.
But it's very interesting because if you actually study Barack Obama, his we're not gonna get into that stuff, but his mother.
There it is, dude.
Yeah. I mean, it's 2024, so I guess that didn't happen. But I wouldn't doubt if he tried to, or somebody's like, nobody wants you to go on tour.
No.
Yeah. I guess they figure now he won't be able to see the protesters. They'll be like, no, there's nobody up front.
I mean, R.
Chanting your name.
I mean, R. Kelly sings in jail still.
Yeah, I mean, he has to. For what he'd get lit up if he wasn't dancing for his life in there.
Right.
But
I mean, Michael Jackson, who is a fucking pedophile, is still played at bar mitzvahs and christenings. Like, people, it's fucking crazy. I mean, I like the music, but it is weird when you take a step back and look at it.
100%.
Dude, the funniest joke is Ian Edwards' joke about that Michael Jackson doc. He's like, if you watch that doc and you still listen to Michael Jackson, you're a real piece of shit. Luckily, I've never seen the doc. You know? No, it's interesting. You study his mother. His father, basically, Barack Obama's grandfather is like 10th cousins with George Bush Sr., but they together built up the CIA.
That's right there. Look, Sam.
Yeah.
Once removed. Look at that.
And they built up. Yeah. So,
he can't believe it. He still can't believe it.
That is crazy. So
they're all relatives, man. It's like Barack Obama, Dick Cheney, they're relatives. But the interesting thing, Greg, is that his mother was a CIA sex kid.
Whose mother?
Barack Obama's. They basically used her to basically go in there and spy and seduce people. His grandfather used his mother to do that. It's a well-known. There's like all these naked pictures of Barack's mom on the internet. Good for her. But that's what her whole thing was. You know, you want to get into like Charles Manson, Courtney Love, giant like CIA asset used to infiltrate music scenes and induce drugs into the scene. That's what.
Did she kill Kurt?
Oh, I mean, if you're asking me, yeah, 100%.
I saw the documentary, and by the end of it, I absolutely believe she did.
That he was going to leave her, but like her whole career is like she was born in trauma. Her father is incredibly, like, he was the manager of the Grateful Dead, which was CIA. They were the CIA's, that's the CIA's, the guy who made all their acid. He was their house band. So everywhere that the Grateful Dead went, that's how they got acid all over the place. They were basically
no shit. Okay.
LSD release.
I'll buy that. I'll buy that. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if you're a Grateful Dead fan.
Love the Grateful Dead.
Oh, you do?
And they've definitely distributed acid to me. I didn't know I was part of a plot. They somehow snuck in and got it on my tongue.
So his dad was a big part of that. And then his Courtney was put in like a home, like some kind of mental hospital. A lot of trauma happened to her here. And then they basically used her as, again, a CIA sex kitten to go in and seduce these people and like introduce drugs in the scenes. And, and then you study the whole kind of like, just like in hip hop with like what they called rap, was like replaced with gangster rap. Like all of a sudden, like all these bands like Public Enemy couldn't get heard anywhere on radio. Now it was all, NWA. Same thing happened with rock, where you had all these heavy metal bands like, Guns N' Roses, who were dominating the music industry. Suddenly now, all you're hearing is this music coming out of Seattle, and it was grunge, which has a connection to, pharmaceuticals and heroin and all that stuff.
The CIA makes the best music. It's so
They
sad.
do. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah, they do.
Devastating.
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess we should go back and listen to some of Manson's music, because apparently he wasn't that bad.
Yeah, and I've heard some of the songs. They're on YouTube. They're not bad at all, actually. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And he was a pretty good guitarist, and
like you said, Dennis Wilson was a fan.
Just some people.
And Neil Young, I think Neil
shit.
Young's got quotes about him saying that he like respected his talent or something. Yeah, he's a legit guy.
Neil Young, man, interesting thing. During the whole COVID situation, everybody coming out against Rogan, just super interesting. Like where we live and all that stuff. Do you have any thoughts on any of that? What we've been through lately, Greg? Any opinions?
As far as what?
COVID, any of this stuff, lockdowns, any of that? What are your thoughts on any of that?
Well, I think we were trying to hit a moving target. So I think some of the shots were good, some were bad. It seems like some of it was overreach for sure. But I don't really have any conspiracy theories about it. I'm sure you do.
I have tons, but we won't get into that. So, are you Catholic?
I was raised Catholic.
You're not Catholic anymore.
I still believe in God, but I'm not an idiot.
So, so you're a spiritual man, not an organized religion man.
Yeah, I would say that.
What made you get out of that?
I had a very strong connection to Catholicism when I was a kid. I was raised Irish Catholic. Both my parents were Irish Catholic from the Bronx, and we really went to church every Sunday, CCD classes during the week. And I really connected to Jesus. I fucking talked to Jesus Christ. He didn't answer, but I mean, I spoke to him.
All right, I'm in.
As a kid. And I liked the whole kind of Gothic vibe. I liked the crucifixion. I liked the crucifixion. I want to see him on the cross with the thorns and the blood and the whole thing was captivating to me. It was
shredded abs. You love the abs.
Oh yeah,
shredded abs, and I mean his calves. He had a nice definition on the bottom of his calf.
Yeah.
Nice feet. He had great feet. Nobody talks about Jesus' feet.
Only feet material?
Yes, totally. Wiki feet. If you look up Jesus Christ on Wiki feet, you're going to be there for a little while. And then I got to high school and I took a class that was called The Bible as World Literature. And it basically showed you that not every, but a lot of the big parables in the Bible existed in previous pagan texts and other world religions. Everything from Jesus being born basically at the winter solstice, to him being reborn at the vernal equinox at Easter. Everything, the parting of the Red Sea was a story. The virgin birth was a story. The three wise men coming, all that stuff already existed. And I was fucking crushed. And I just was so angry at my mother, and it took me a while to get over it. And I can still walk into a church and feel something, but and then obviously the priest fucking put me over the edge. that got me completely out of the business.
See, that used to bum me out too. Can I just say really quick, as someone who I grew up Southern Baptist, and when I took that class in college, my professor was this guy Bart Ehrman. He's like the top Bible guy, and he talked about all that stuff. And that used to bum me out, but now as an adult, I think, well, if these stories keep appearing over and over again, there must be something there, right? Yeah, but there must be something. They have to be meaningful to us as you. So that's reassuring to me that there must be some reason we keep, there must be some source for these stories.
Well, if you read Carl Jung, he talks about archetypes and about these different stories that show up in unconnected societies and civilizations, and the same things pop up. And
whether they have to do with the seasons or the stars, and but somehow man has a need to create stories. But why do these stories repeat in unconnected places?
Yeah.
So are you out in any kind of Jesus stuff?
I love Jesus. He was, I mean,
Bam.
the writings of Jesus are beautiful, you know, and
I
it
love
is,
it.
yeah. And I think we need more of that. I think, you know, Jesus cared about the poor. I think we're kind of losing sight of that in this country. There's a lot of Christians that don't seem to care about poor people. I think that turning the other cheek, I think we need a little bit more of that. I think people really dig in against each other. I don't know. It's if you can take it as in the same way that I can read Eckhart Tolle or Jung. I can read philosophers and I can take from them. And Jesus wasn't, the story of Jesus wasn't written by one person, but it was an oral tradition, and a lot of the stories there are very captivating.
So we're gonna get in some weird shit right here. Are you into any magic? Like not like hey, but like energy and manifestation and all that stuff.
Sure,
Do you
absolutely.
ever buy into any of that?
I mean, the first time I sat down with a Ouija board, it fucking lit up. It connected a bunch of crazy shit. And I think that was the first time I stepped into that realm of believing there was a power on the other side. And I think growing up Catholic, this wasn't metaphor. I mean, I don't know if the Baptists feel about the transfiguration and of turning water into wine, but when you're Catholic, you are told that chalice has fucking blood in it. That's not wine.
Yeah.
It's been transfigured. And there's a lot of things that you because your neurological pathways have been farmed out to this kind of magical realism, then you're more receptive to that idea in other ways, even if you leave the religion.
So do you believe in ghost, any of that stuff, interdimensionals? Like we have this giant movement right now with aliens. Are you an aliens guy? I'm a demon.
Now tell me about this new stuff, because it seems like there's a lot of Area 51 stuff that's coming out right now, right?
Well, yeah, there's a lot. We had these 10-foot gray in Miami that they want us to believe, and everyone's got an iPhone, no one's got a shot. And my joke is on stage is that like 30% of the women in Miami are OnlyFans. None of these big booty Latinas are grinding on this gray. I mean, I'm sure you've heard of Project Bluebeam and this whole movement to like try to convince us of alien attacks and stuff like that. But do you get into any of that?
How can it not? I mean, if we exist, we exist in a certain vibrational frequency.
I love
and it's
this.
infinite. So how can we live in whatever fucking megahertz through whatever megahertz and believe that somehow the rest of it is a void? It's illogical. So, how we connect to it, we haven't really figured it. For a society that's supposed to be so hyper intelligent with supercomputers and geniuses, like how have you not found a way to? It's not out in space; it's right here. It's we're moving our hand through it. It's there.
Do you believe in assimilation, interdimensions? What was your thoughts?
What's interdimensions mean?
Multiple dimensions. Like some people think this is the lowest.
The nature of reality.
What
do you think the nature of this reality?
Oh, it's hard to know. I think it is funny that the biggest question a human being can ask themselves is what happens when I die? If science shows us that there's a conservation of energy and conservation of matter, that it can't go anywhere, then whatever it is that is our consciousness, it doesn't make sense that would just end one day. So that's what I think led to the idea of either reincarnation or ascension to heaven. It is weird to me when I talk to somebody and they say, no, it just ends when we turn into dirt. And I just think that sounds dumb. That sounds like somebody who hasn't thought about it very much.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just, I mean, if you get into the, to the laws of physics, you can't create or destroy energy, which is very interesting to me. Like, I'm very much into this thing right now. Like, I'm obviously deep into conspiracies, and, my whole thing is that, like, we live in a very mystical place, energy vibrations and all that stuff, and that they have, they take out all the woo woo out of it, and they make it into like this hard science, and there's these things called the hermetic principles, and these principles are how the universe operates, and they took out all the woo woo out of that and called them the laws of physics. And I think science takes away a lot of the, and I'm not anti-science, but I think science takes a lot of the mysticism out of our reality and our ability to manipulate energy and all that stuff. So I think it's interesting. Have you ever seen Ghost?
Have I seen a ghost?
You don't remember? Wow.
Yeah. You'd remember. You'd remember if you saw a ghost.
Like at the store, you ever see a
what's that Ouija thing? What happened with the Ouija board? Dude?
Yeah.
You said it lit up.
I didn't physically see anything, but I asked the Ouija board questions. I can't remember what the questions were, but I was answered correctly, and it spelled words with my eyes closed.
With your eyes closed?
Freaked me the fuck out. Yeah, it freaked me out.
Wow.
So no, I believe in it. You hope for it. I don't think there's enough of it. I mean, we live a pretty static life. We live a very one-dimensional life, and I think that I think the secret to life is shaking it up and trying new things, because you can maybe open up some new realities to yourself. I think the pandemic made me fall into some really fucking just petrified ways of looking at my life and the world. And I've tried to do new things since the pandemic, and I need more. I need to do more pushing of myself. I've taken some hero doses of mushrooms, and I went camping by myself for 3 days in the Sierras, which I didn't know how to camp. So that was a fucking roll of the dice.
How was that? Tell me, because I don't know how to camp, and I want to camp.
I would love to. Yeah.
It's good. Just be careful, because the Sierras get fucking cold at night. It's like 70 during the day, and then it goes down to like 32 at night.
Yep.
Did you glamp or camp? Like,
no, I camped.
Right.
Yeah. I had a small tent. I had my little stove and some dried food, and did not bring. I thought I had a sleeping bag that would keep me warm. It wasn't even fucking close. I just put on every piece of clothing I had, and I had to keep moving, and I didn't sleep much, but I stayed out there. I did the 3 days.
Wow. Bad.
Yeah.
That's great.
I really want to do that, dude. My kids are super young.
You'd be a great guy to camp with, because the chatter would not stop at the fireside, and it would get fucking weird.
Dude, I would have your third eye ripped open by the end.
Yeah.
Did you have cell signal out there? Could you get cell signal out there? That would be
spotty
for Sam.
That's spotty. Yeah.
No, we need no cell signal for Sam. We're looking for zero cell signal.
So hold on.
For Sam.
Did you trip balls while you were out there? Did you?
No. This was I meditate a lot. I meditate twice a day. I've done that for like 12 years. So I did some extended meditations, and you can really feel high if you're in the right place and you let yourself really go deep. Like, usually when I meditate, in TM they talk about if you hit a certain wavelength, even for 10 seconds during a 20-minute meditation, that's considered a great meditation. You don't have to stay there, but you gotta touch it. And I found that I was staying in it for extended periods of time.
I think the world is way more interesting than everybody wants to believe. I think we're battling sorcerers. I think we're all magicians, and there's just things we could do that connect with the nature, with God, with all that stuff. And I think it's interesting, man. I don't think we're meant to live in these big cities, dude. I think we're meant to be connect with God and get out. This is like some Babel shit where it's
right.
like you look at the big cities. This is where all the mental illness, anxiety, and all that is. And not that small towns are perfect, but take your shoes off, walk on the ground, connect with God. That's my whole.
Right.
That's really where I am. I've been sober a little over 3 years now. I just quit porn too. I mean, I'm just getting. I'm
Wow.
about to get, yeah. It's tough because when you're on the road and you got nothing to do, it's real easy to be like, "What are my friends at Pornhub up to?"
Yeah.
It's a vibrational thing for me. It's just.
Right.
I'm not judging anybody, but I just think it's low vibrational. So I'm trying to cut that out. I'm trying to get into like fasting too. I start that tomorrow. Getting back on the fast, and I'm just cutting out low vibrational shit, dude.
Well, yeah, I think it is amazing when you think about how much we avoid sobriety. And I don't just mean with substances, with porn, with work, with relationships. There's so many ways that we try to run from ourselves, and to find a way to, good for you, man. Stopping, getting sober and stopping porn. Like, how can you strip it away? And what are we afraid of? Why is it that the human condition is that we need to get away from the baseline, just the raw essence of just being? We're so afraid of it, or even just sitting and looking into your loved one's eyes and just connecting for a long time and not saying anything and just trusting that it's safe. We don't feel safe.
What you mentioned that when you were in the zone when you were meditating, do you think that has anything to do with, like, I mean, it's a little bit in the conspiracy zone, but the Wi-Fi, the internet, the social media, like the vibes? You know how you said you were in the zone? Were you grounding? Were you barefoot?
I wasn't barefoot. No, I was freezing my ass off. But no, but you mean are all those signals creating that zone?
In a weird way, do you think the signals, the Wi-Fi, because the Wi-Fi is working all day, every day, and if you were out there, do you think that could help your meditation zone in a little better? I know I
never thought about that. I thought it was the opposite, but maybe it is. I mean, every night I go to sleep and I listen to audiobooks, and I have this iMask that has earbuds in it that are Bluetooth, and I'm listening to a book. And in the morning, I noticed that the fucking Bluetooth is still on, and it's right pressed against my head.
Yeah.
And I think I might be really fucking myself up right now.
Dude, I think about that all the time. I do that fall asleep with the earbuds in, and I wake up and it's just 5 hours into the audiobook, and I'm like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
If it comes out, dude, that this shit gives you cancer, it's the cigarettes of our generation. We're all fucked, dude. We're so fucked.
What we gonna sue all?
We're gonna die. We're not gonna do anything. We're just gonna be dead.
We're gonna die. That's exactly what's gonna happen. Final question, then we'll let you go, Greg. If you could look back at your younger self, what would be the advice you give yourself if you can go back? Because I have this. You always watch these. I do. I watch videos of like talking to 80-year-olds and what advice they would give their younger self, and they're always like, I work less, I do this, I do that. If I can go back, and I would be like, tell myself, don't stop taking everything personal. Nobody's thinking about you. Everybody's white knuckling their life, trying to do the best they can. And if they do something, it's probably a drive-by, and they're doing it to a lot of people, and you're good. Nobody's coming to save you. You got to save yourself. So if you had, and final question, any advice for yourself?
Don't be scared. I think that, when you're a kid and you get acne and you think that, like you said, everybody's looking at you, and I wish I could have just stepped it out. I stepped out of myself a little bit and realized that, like I used to look at Barbara Streisand with that big fucking nose. And I used to think, God, she's lucky that she's got that look. Why don't I have a big nose? I used to be friends with my best friend was this Colombian dude named David Aranguren, and he was big, he was fat, and I was so fucking skinny. I was embarrassed to wear shorts, and like I used to tie my sneakers and like the eyelets would touch each other. There was like no lace in between the sneakers. And all I wanted to be, David Aranguren's fat and used to hang over the sides of his sneakers. And I think, God damn it, I wish my feet were fat like that, Yeah. And like, I just wish that I could have accepted when I was young and not been afraid that I wasn't fitting in. and own the fact that the things that made me different were the things that I should celebrate, including like I own going bald. When I started shaving my head, I felt this weight come off of me, because I finally took it out of the equation. I stopped trying to push it forward or fucking. I used to have this powder. I'd go on auditions and I'd put this brown powder on my scalp so that the light wouldn't bounce off of it. I was obsessed. I took Rogaine, all that shit. And you just realize, you look back and you're like, God damn, you wasted so much time on something that nobody fucking cared about.
Nobody cared about. Yeah.
So owning my imperfections, I think, and not even to call it an imperfection, because what's perfection? Who's got perfect hair? Nobody.
Yeah, when you find out like what 70% of people have eye stigmas, so
really,
you're like, then that means everyone's got a fucked up eye. How is that
right.
So if you have a normal eye, you're the weirdo. Okay, that's how it is.
Now, there's a reason why people still love seeing Bert take his shirt off, and they don't like to see him lose weight. They like to see him owning an imperfection. It's powerful.
Yeah. Lizzo.
Do you have hope for comedy? Do you think comedy's in a great place or a worse place?
Well, it's funny because I talked to Bill Burr today, and I was talking about, I saw on Friday night Dane Cook. It's online. If you look at Dane Cook's Instagram, he introduced Matt Rife as, taking comedy to a new level. And I have no thoughts on Matt Rife. I haven't met the guy. I don't know him. I don't know his comedy. But I did say to Bill, I go, that seems a little grandiose, and Bill goes, no, you know what? Matt Rife is bringing new people into comedy. There's young
just like
people.
Dane did.
Yeah, exactly. He goes, this is great for comedy, And so I think that it's a matter of celebrating that all boats rise with the tide. Every time there's a new podcast that comes out, that's somebody that's going to listen to this podcast, and then they go, hey, what else is out there? And I think that I think there's definitely a bubble. I think there is too much comedy to sustain. I don't think there's enough talent to float the number of venues that are out there right now that are doing comedy, from coffee shops to arenas. There's comedy every fucking night everywhere.
Yeah,
so I think
LA's going through that right now.
Yeah, I think it'll level out a little bit, but I think that, the people that have done the work and have a quality act and aren't bullshit people on stage, I think that they'll always last. I've been doing it for 33 years, and
yeah, dude.
I always say I crawl my way to the middle, and I'm staying right there.
Yeah, dude. Respect. You're a great one, dude. When do you think your special is going to be out?
I'm dragging ass on editing it. I'm actually going to start. I'm going to do the second pass as soon as we get off this call. And I don't know. I was saying March, but now it's probably going to be April. And then I found out, my agent goes, I go, well, we got to show it to Netflix. He's like, okay, great. But if they buy it, they're booked through 2024. It won't come out till 2025. And my first thing was like, I spent so much fucking money making this special so that it had the specs for Netflix. Like, it's got to be 4K, 6 cameras, lighting kits. I did all of that. And now I find out I'm not waiting till 2025. Even if they did buy it.
Put it on YouTube, dude. Blow it up.
Yeah, I'll put it out on YouTube.
All right, Greg, you're great. One more time, tell them where they can find you.
Fitzdog.com. I got some tour dates coming up. I will be in, where the fuck am I going to be?
Right there. Helium.
Oh, yeah, there we go. Helium in Portland, Comedy Store in La Jolla. March 16th is the Hollywood Improv St. Patrick's Day show, Side Splitters in Tampa. And I got a bunch of other dates I'm about to put up this week, but that's it for now.
All right, brother. You crushed it. Thanks for doing my show. I look forward to doing your show tomorrow. We'll bang it out. I'm so excited. And I appreciate you coming on. Thank you, dude.
All right. Thanks, brother. Good seeing you guys.
Take care, brother. Welcome. We'll do instant feedback. What do you guys think?
Good.
I love that guy.
Yeah, I love him. He's so smart. He's
Yeah,
so smart.
I
Do you think we got too bogged into the Hollywood stuff? I had to.
No. I mean, we can't talk about the same stuff every week. You know, I mean, it's that's what he knows. I think that was a perfectly natural,
great
subject.
Conversation.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm a huge fan of his.
Me too. I've always
sometimes I wonder if he had a misunderstanding of me, because the first time he introduced me on stage, he was like, "This guy has dark energy." I should have asked him about that. Maybe
Yeah,
I'll
you
ask him
should
on
have
his
asked
podcast.
him. Yeah, ask him about it tomorrow because I guarantee you he was just talking. I mean, he just means like you're, you're edgy. You have an edge to you. You come with that
I
kind
get
of
that. I get that. I get
northeastern
that.
kind of
But,
edge.
like there was a long time I was pretty sensitive to everything. I probably
well, yeah,
still
you
am.
obviously, if you remember that from God knows how many years ago, you remember.
Yeah, it was so long ago. But I was
how he
like,
brought
dude,
you up.
what? Yeah, dude, I thought it was great. I'm glad we got into some shroom talk. I enjoyed blowing his mind. I love when you drop some facts.
Oh
on
yeah, he
people.
didn't believe that Obama bullshit. That's why I had to pull it up. I was like, he's not believing this. He's like, okay, Sam. I was like, no, this one's a huge W every time Sam brings it up. But
yeah, it's when we had Tim Dillon on, we were discussing Building 6, and he didn't know about, or Greg Carlwood. Those are my favorite moments when you could pull a new conspiracy on people. I love that shit. It's the best.
Yeah,
I love it. It was a good show, man. It's like not every show needs to be like a presentation of a conspiracy. Some needs to just be fun conversation. I think that is the beauty of this show, is that we stick and move, and we have, I mean,
like water, we fill up whatever. Yeah.
That's it. I think, again, I really want to say this, that like, and we talk about this on shows, like I'm very conscious of the listeners, and I always want to make sure that they know that I have their interests in heart. So I like to give a variety of different topics, and we'll listen to what they say, what they do like, what they don't like. So you just have this kind of fun conversation with people. And I love when I hear somebody who's 56, 57 going, I'm trying to find about myself. I'm trying to learn about. I like, dude, there was a guy that I used to know through recovery, and he was like 70 something, and he would just always talk about learning new things about himself. And like, I think that is such an amazing thing when you get into your, obviously 50s isn't that old, unless you're 30 or 20, you think it's the oldest of old. But it really, you'll be amazed how, like, I look at my daughters, they're 3 years old. They're about to turn 4. And I think about, there will be a time where they're like, oh, I'm getting old. And it makes me sad because they have so much youth on their side right now.
Like right now when you just said 3, I was like, that's times 10 of me. That's a lot. Like we just said that's a lot of time, but then it flies by, and then all of a sudden
flies by, dude.
Well, dude, I mean, do you feel it? Do you feel like it was just yesterday when you were a kid? Like I feel that. I feel like, I mean, I feel the past just right behind me at all times, just like on my shoulder. Do you feel that way, Sam, or has it kind of become distant to you? Your childhood?
No, I think it's like I think about being a kid all the time. I'm very conscious of that as I raise my children. I try to, you want to make memories for them, that they have these amazing experiences.
Well, I've heard that parenthood is an opportunity to kind of do childhood again, almost. Are you feeling that? Like you kind of get to relive it?
Yes, and I find that this is a double-edged sword.
Mm-hmm.
That parents always want to make sure that their kids don't feel the trauma that they felt. And that can be really good because, James Pulver, what's his name? James Pulver. He was the MMA fighter. He was like, I remember when my dad was beating me, I was thinking to myself, my son's never going to feel this. So that's a great thing.
Yeah.
But I also think we see a lot with these like super liberal white kids. I mean, super liberal white parents, that they could go above and beyond, like righting the wrongs of their childhood or the way we raise children forever, and be too soft on their kids. Yeah. It's that fine line, because you want to love your children so much, but you also don't want to, be a walkover. It's kind of crazy.
Them. There's so many. It's so easy to spoil a kid.
They're so great, though. I mean,
it's the things that you.
Kids are the best. It's just the best.
I love my nephew, dude. Like, I mean, that's my favorite thing about going home, is hanging out with that kid, man. He's so special to me. Yeah, they're amazing.
Yeah. I mean, I love it.
But yeah, Greg Fitzsimmons, dude, you can tell he's a good soul, right? Like you can just tell there's a good guy in there. You know what I mean?
And I really want him to get that last project, so he get for the rest of his life.
Yeah, give Greg.
That made me so sad if he wasn't able to get it. And it's like, why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you have Greg Fitzsimmons right on your show.
Yeah,
It
now
just
that was
makes-
the one thing he was afraid to kind of just go in and say.
Well, I
like,
get
hey,
it, dude. It's like
because he's
it's
got to
a
work. Yeah,
big
he wants to work.
like
yeah.
people have no clue how hard it is to work in Los Angeles. It is so hard because it only takes one red light out of a bunch of red lights you got to get on that show, to get it to work.
Yeah, explain what you mean by that. Because first you're going in for like casting, and then okay, they like
going
you.
to casting or you're pitching.
Well, even
your
it starts
product.
even before that, right? It starts at like somebody getting your headshot, or they saw you in something like
Yeah.
that. Then you
Yeah.
get to casting, and then
Yeah.
how many layers are above that, Sam? Go through the layers.
I mean, you go in, you got to get the agent. The agent sends you out there. The casting director just has to give you an audition. You have to get the audition. You come back for a second audition. Then you meet with producers. Then you got to go to network. Then you got to do like this. I forget what it's called, but you basically got to do for a bunch of
like a table read or something.
You got to do for a bunch of people who they think represents the audience. And like you have to see if you score
like
well with them.
like a test
test audience.
Test audience.
I mean,
yeah.
it's so impossible.
Well, and then you hear all the time too, like if somebody gets, they almost book it, and then like there's an actor that maybe is not feeling, them or whatever, and then they lose. I mean, like you said, any red light, even
so
that late,
hard.
it's over.
So I get it. I like, again, this show is not about like putting people in uncomfortable positions. This is about them being able to be the best version of themselves.
And it looked like he was ready to be in uncomfortable positions, because a couple times, like, is that time? And then we were like, no, we can. So he was ready. Like, we got to give it to him. He knew
he went there.
Yeah.
I think Greg is a wonderful mind and a great guy. I think he's also, he's a part of a generation, which I'm a part of, that, is liberal and has liberal views, and have they been able to adapt to the modern spectrum of politics? And I was going to get into that, but he didn't seem he wanted to, so that's fine. I mean, like, we're going to talk about when I asked him for notes, he wanted to talk about, he just said comedy.
Yeah, that's so fun.
Yeah.
So I'm okay with that. And it was just an honor to have him on. He's an OG of this thing, and I love.
Yeah, and if you haven't heard his comedy, he's very funny. Check it out.
He's so funny, dude. He's a hard worker, and I'm glad hopefully he'll come back. I'm going to do his podcast tomorrow. I'm very excited. So that's that. Anything else, guys?
No, that was a great episode. Thanks for having him on. Like, for real. Like, I heard him on Rogan's a long time ago. So when I saw his name on the email, I was like, oh yeah, this is one of those ones I've heard before, so I can say hell yeah.
I think this is one of your best episodes asking questions, Xavier Guerrero.
Yeah.
A lot of you guys don't know. Xavier Guerrero is going to podcast asking class right now.
Yeah,
it's
called English
online.
It's called English 101 at the community college,
You're
honestly, in
it.
Glendale.
You're crushing it, buddy. So
Well,
go to
Q&A.
SamTripoli.com. Check out my dates. Check out our affiliates. We love them. They're the best. Can you go to the affiliates real quick? The dates: Edmonton, Bakersfield. Go down. Huntington Beach. My live taping. I hope you guys join me. I'm going to make this flyer right now. We're going to get that push. I hope we can have enough people show up. What else do we got?
I'm sorry, Sam. What's the room again for the show?
The Bourbon Room.
Nice. That's a cool place.
Go to Tinfoil Hat T-shirts. We're crushing it on that. The new one's up. He's supposed to put a whole bunch of new ones up. We'll see. I don't know. We'll see. I had all these shirts. We'll see. But anyways, go to Tinfoil Hat T-shirts. Buy gold and silver. Dude, buy gold and silver. Just buy it. Right now. Run, buy gold, silver. Go to SamTripoli.gold. Go to Wise Wolf. Use our link. Go there. Aquatine or Aquacure, hydrogen brown gas. Great company. Everyone gets it, loves it. Our good friends at Harley Ray. Use a $15. Use Swarm 15 to get 15% off all purchases. And then, dude, I can't express enough how much I love Chemical Free Body. Okay. Chemical Free Body. I love their product. I've been taking all of them. I feel great, man. I like, dude, their products are the best of the best, and I take them every day. This is something I use all the time. And then my man, if you go to, right here, We go to Justin. Here we go for his work on there. Go down. Okay. Yeah. Joel Staley, man. I'm telling you, dude, I didn't think I would love it. I love lifting now. I love lifting weights. And it's Joel Staley has me on this workout, and it's great. I start my fasting. Just started my fasting. I have a lot of belief in myself, and Joel Staley's workout is fire. I hope you guys enjoy it. Go check it out. Anything else, guys?
No. Oh, new show, Scum and Kick It. My new show. Go subscribe and go hit the like button, please. Thank you.
Okay, send me links so I can include it in the descriptions. Did you get a link tree yet, Xavier?
Yeah, right today.
Please do that.
Yeah, we'll do.
Johnny, please do it.
I'm at Johnny Woodard. I thought you need one link. At Johnny Woodard on Twitter. Check me out.
Okay.
That's it.
Check out my new Rumble show every Friday at 3 p.m. I will be doing doom scrolling. It was huge numbers last time.
Such a good
name. We'll see how it goes this year. Then finally, go check every Tuesday when we're in town. Tuesday, 3 p.m. We are doing a live. We listen to your voicemails. Go check it out. Enjoy these highlights.
Here's a clip from the latest Broken Sim. Did you see this video from Michael Rappaport?
Yeah.
Who is one of the most disgusting, kind of the worst traits about liberals and
relationship with Michael Rappaport. He probably doesn't like me.
Yeah.
But I always liked him.
He's funny, yeah.
And I love this podcast. I think he's gone crazy with the Trump derangement syndrome.
And Israel.
And Israel. And like he's just lately been on the wrong side of every issue. But I do think he's funny.
Listen to this, though. Because of the immigration thing, he's considering voting for Trump. And this is crazy.
I say voting for pig Donald Trump is on the table. Voting for pig Donald Trump is on the table. The other day in New York City, 6 illegal aliens jumped a New York City cop, NYPD's finest. They jumped a New York City cop in Times Square and were arrested and released without bail. I know it's a city thing. I know it's a state thing. I know all that. I know all that.
It's for citizens.
I know all that. Okay? Stay with me. Released without bail. Came out of the courtroom on some Tupac, raising the middle finger with the Detroit Red Wings jersey. Let me tell you something. What the is the world coming to? If you could be from another country, beat up a cop in New York City, and walk out with no bail?
Dude.
What the is the world coming to?
Okay.
What the is the world coming to? I know, Mayor Adams, you're from Brownsville, Brooklyn. I know this. Like, what the have I gotten myself into? Stay with me. On the same day that happens, Cadaver Joe Biden issues an executive order about 4 quote-unquote settlers in Judea, Samaria, aka the West Bank. Some troublemakers. 3 of the 4
I don't want to hear it.
But he goes back to it at the end. He's like, I'm now, it's on the table for me voting for Trump because of this stuff. And I think this is really happening all around the country.
Yeah, 100%, bro. So have you seen the CNN clip where they're discussing this? And what they're discussing
the cop thing or what?
Yeah.
Okay.
CNN, this cop thing, Florida. Put in CNN, NYPD cop, and Florida. So they're just, this is it. This is it.
Waves, 170,000 probably to New York City. But within that group, this hardworking, throngs of people in search of hope and a better life. There is this 1%er, criminal element that looks at a different opportunity here. These individuals, I went over their rap sheets yesterday. Multiple charges: grand larceny, robbery, attempted robbery, grand larceny. This particular crew operated on mopeds and scooters. They were doing organized retail theft. They were doing snatches on the street, iPhones, iPads, clothing, so on and so forth. One of them that they are still seeking has 10 charges on one day because he's part of a pattern that's been going on. And I'm looking at the dates that their arrest started, which is probably close to when they got here. They've only been here a couple of months. So what the detectives are telling me is they have crews here that operate in New York, do all their stealing, then go to Florida to spend the money and then come back. And I'm like, well, why don't they just stay and steal in Florida? And they said, because there you go to jail.
Oh. Great point.
Hilarious.
Yep.
Isn't that, But I really think, dude, this on this issue, they fucked up the plan here. Like, if the plan was to kind of push this race thing so that the last minute everybody's like maybe swinging for Biden, I think it's going to be the complete opposite.
I think they're totally wrong on that, Johnny.
Yeah.
I think they want absolute chaos and martial law. That's what they want. We've discovered they're using.
But you don't think Biden's doomed? No, I think he's doomed. He has no chance in the election.
He has not. I think they're going to try to get Michelle Obama. And I've been told she doesn't want to do it, but I think they're putting pressure on her.
I don't think so. We still have $100 bet, by the way, that Biden's not. You said he was not going to be the Democratic nominee.
All right.
It's still out there.
All right.
So this was a big story a couple weeks ago, and we just had to talk about it again. The Daily Show was so put in the ditch by Trevor Noah that they actually have gone groveling to Jon Stewart. He's making his return to the Daily Show,
which is hilarious because Jon Stewart's brand is dog crap too now.
Yeah, they kind of met at the bottom.
Yeah, they're like, we need each other, right? And it's just like Trevor Noah, is that his name?
Trevor Noah, yeah.
Is by far the biggest fail up you've ever seen in your life.
It's amazing.
And he just keeps acting like he didn't destroy everything, and they just keep giving him more gigs. And it's really like sad. And then, like, I guess his Amazon Prime special did well, which is hilarious because I don't find him funny at all. And he's like
at all
this like race grifter. Like, you come from South Africa where like racial tensions are 1,000 times worse, and then you come here and act like you're holier than thou. Like, you were Dana literally commented. Dana used to love the Daily Show. She used to watch it every day, and he had 2 segments on there, and Dana said every time, like, he bombed. And I remember this was just around the time I started seeing all these guys on CNN talking about how people in Washington, D.C. are really pissed that everybody's watching watching the Daily Show more than the nightly news, and that it was painting conservatives as like idiots.
Yeah.
So people got mad.
Yeah.
So they sent somebody in to destroy the brand, and now it's like.
Yeah. Okay.
What it's like if you like someone just got Comedy Central thing, like, what does that mean?
Nothing. Yeah.
What does that mean? I got something on Comedy Central.
Not much.
I mean,
not
dude,
what it
you
used
took
to, anyway.
you took no, it means nothing.
Yeah.
It means nothing. They don't have a live streaming service to make it worthwhile to put a special on. Right? They would take your special.
Yeah, it's like Paramount, right? Isn't it?
I love Paramount. I mean, did it really get sold to what's his face? Someone said he put in a deal on, but
that was Howie told us that, right?
Yeah, but I think he said too much.
Paramount Global is for sale. It says 4 days ago. Paramount Global stock boosted by Byron Allen's. Oh, I think Byron Allen is wanting to buy it. Is what it sounds like, but I don't know if it's gone through yet. So King Charles is, and I think we had heard a while ago that maybe he was considering stepping down.
This is a crazy story. He's got cancer, like really aggressive cancer.
He's being treated for cancer and will temporarily, they say, halt.
You know, they're like,
duties.
dude, you and your wife are too unfuckable for this job.
He's 75 years old. Less than 8. He must be so pissed. Less than 18 months into his reign.
Dude, I think he doesn't want it.
Well, that you say.
I think he just wants to sit in Dracula's castle, chill, do scumbag shit, and mind his own business. I don't think he wants anything to do with it.
Could be, yeah. You think he's faking his cancer to raise awareness for cervical cancer?
Dude, his son's gonna step right in, and that chick is gonna be queen. And the way they present her, the princess, just lets you know that she's a slit. She'll slit.
Kate Middleton?
Yeah. She just look at her. She just cares so much about the regular folk. And you're like, oh, dude, she is just drinking baby blood and just eating fucking spirits. Like, there's nothing about, and I'm sorry, there's some people are going to love her, but I'm old enough to know that how you're presented, you're probably the exact opposite of that. Yeah. Right? I mean, there's no way.
I mean,
you're going to be queen of England, dude. Think about that. You're going to be queen of basically the world.
Yeah, I mean, you're the only queen that matters worth a damn. Peter Thiel, you know him well, is bankrolling.
Bro, this is my favorite story of all time.
And now, a highlight from Cash Daddies. Speaking of no-ass bitches, did you see, Howie, that Morningstar, after analyzing the top wealth-destroying funds, rated Kathy Wood's ARK as the the #1 wealth-destroying fund family over the past 10 years. It has wiped out $14.3 billion in investor wealth over the past decade.
Oh my God. How do you live with that?
And when did I start ripping her? I'd say 3 years ago. 3 years ago when she was out and that shit, she was throwing darts and stuff was going up. I said, no, back off, man. This lady is a demon. She's a fucking demon. And no, Johnny, you're right. I mean, if you look at all her funds, they're down shit. Like a lot of funds are down 30, 40%, which you shouldn't be in this market. It should be up. Everything's up. Her shit was down 80, 85, 90% from highs. Ridiculous. She would just
shouldn't be possible. It shouldn't be possible, right? For someone to stay in charge and to run a fund that badly.
And I said this 3 years ago, and I would say once a month, I would say this lady is the devil. You would be insane. And I knew it was bad when I started seeing Facebook ads of her saying, do you want to be the wealthiest person on your block? Do you want to be the wealthiest
what?
person?
Facebook
ads? Dude, she was marketing the shit out of her garbage.
That's hilarious.
The lawsuits that got to be coming out now again because she just devastated people.
Yeah, but isn't that the risk you take? Is like if I give you money, I could possibly not get it back.
When you invest with a lady that doesn't even really look like a lady,
You should just stopped with a lady.
Well, she's got glass thick. She looks scary as hell. She looks like a witch. I mean, no, you take a risk.
Yeah, but there are funds that just track the market that do better than she. I mean, it's just it shouldn't be possible to be that bad, really.
The Vanguard 500, which is a fund that was it's an index fund which Vanguard made, I don't know, 40 years ago for cops, teachers, firemen, and they throw darts. They pick the top 500 companies. There's no management. You pick the top 500 companies in the S&P. That thing crushed Kathy Woods. Crushed her.
Let's see how it's doing over 10 years. I just want to look at it right here.
It's crushed her.
It's
look at the Vanguard 500. It's way up right now.
Let me get it over the annually. Here we go. I mean, it was up. Capital return was 25% in 2023, or 24%. It was 27% in 2021. I mean, and if you look like income return, it would be 2%, but it's all profit every year. So going back, yeah.
Just the S&P, the Vanguard 500, that was made for the normal Joe. Just a guy that works all day, doesn't have time to watch his portfolio, and just wants to do the 8 to 12% a year. And it's actually done a lot higher lately.
Yeah.
But yeah, her management skills would just bury you.
I mean, at what point do you not invest with her, or is this like a falling up situation?
Their funds were decimated in the 2022 bear market, with losses ranging from 34.1% to 67.5% for the year, according to Morningstar's Amy Arnott.
Yeah,
67%.
She crushed entire entities. Like if you were any kind of a pension fund or any kind of a fund that gave her $50-60 million, ooh, you got just spanked. You got spanked hard. And I mean, it's funny, you watch all of the news networks. She used to be on all the time. And then they used to have, they're like, Kathy, you just sold a ton of, here's what she did. She bought like NVIDIA at 200. She sold it all at 140. And I think it's at 700 today.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what she did.
Good job.
And people would ask her, like, why did you do that? And her answers weren't really good. It's like, well,
how could you have a good answer for that? I mean, it doesn't make any sense.
She used to say whack shit like Jesus talked to me last night at 3 a.m. I mean, that's why she called that. That's why her investments are ARK. They're all ARK because, yeah, she's one of those whack jobs that, she hears Jesus must be fucking with her. He's got to be like, hey, Kathy, do this. He's got to be turning around to his boys just laughing his ass off.
Maybe it's not Jesus she's talking to. That's what I would think.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's taken a beat down. But Sam's favorite company, Palantir
Technologies just came out with earnings and they crushed it. They're up to almost $20 a share from 14.
We go deep, homeboy. Aaron, open your mind. Drink from the fountain of knowledge. There's lizard people everywhere. That's some interdimensional shit. Wake up, Aaron.
This is only the beginning.
Dude, you just blew my mind.
Tinfoil hack.